Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Give people a couple of seconds. But happy Thursday. Welcome to another episode of S.O.S Live, Systems, Operations, and Scaling. This is where founders come to get one piece of free game that can change the way that you run your business this week. It has been really like whirlwind starting this. Thank you. Season one was something that I did because I just wanted to close the gap between vision and action. And so when I started season one, um, you know, I started with some ideas that I had. In season two, I really want to focus on um things that I'm seeing with my clients and things that I'm also seeing with just the founders that I interact with on the regular. I want to really pull back the curtain and really talk about the stuff that I know that there's an air of responsibility as a business owner to get everything right. And so there's a lot of conversations that we don't have in public spaces. There's a lot of conversations that we only have amongst, in our small group chats or, whatever the case may be. But it's like, as soon as you get to the point where there's more people in the group chat than that, let's say you don't know three people in the group chat, it's like all of a sudden, mm, I'm not going to share that things aren't going well. I'm not going to share that things are getting difficult or whatever the case may be. So season two, I really want this to be a place um, where I can talk about the things that I've been talking with founders in my DMs about, and hearing them say, hey, I'm really struggling with this, and we're going back and forth about it. Or, somebody who booked like office hours time with me, and they're like, hey, I'm really struggling through this, and we work through it in an hour. I want to be able to share those things with you. So welcome to season two. If you are a founder who is looking to scale your business without falling apart, you are in the right spot. So now, today, I really want to talk about something that I have been noticing, like with my clients and also with founders that I've been talking to. I'm very big on data. I'm starting to notice like these three categories that founders are falling into. I'm trying to figure out what this glare is on my glasses. I think it's just. I'm trying to turn. Do I gotta back up? I don't know. Ugh, I'm gonna keep them on, but it's bothering me. Mm, okay, whatever. We'll press forward. All right. So there's these three buckets, right? That I'm kind of seeing, like these three types of like beliefs and personalities. And I think it makes sense also because a lot of us are coming from we're coming from corporate. And a lot of times we were the go-to person, or we were the person who was getting a lot of praise in our work, either for our intellect, for the way that we, take charge of situations, the way that we're able to respond. Maybe some of us were like the go-to person, like anytime something goes wrong, oh, just call Jasmine, she'll know. I've heard that so many times. And like, there's part of me that's like, oh yeah, that's great that they know that about me, but then, you're never getting paid to match that. So that's a whole nother story for another time. But yeah, you start to, uh, I think a lot of us can relate to that. So I just want to have that conversation today. Um, Once you go from your 9 to 5 and you start to get into being a solopreneur, which is where most of us start, um, you know, you are doing all of the things that you were praised for in your 9 to 5 now in solopreneurship. And, that same fight, that same speed, that same tenacity is what ends up helping your business like really start to get its legs. Yeah, you just going. And that's very helpful to start your business. I think what I'm starting to realize though is that One, our habits show up differently, but those same habits are also can be what is blocking us from getting to the CEO seat in our own businesses, right? And you're the CEO because it is your business, but I'm talking about in terms of action and mindset and your week to week or month to month tasks. Um, yeah, it's tricky because it's like praise in 9 to 5, praise as solopreneurship, and then all of a sudden now this stuff is what makes things feel sticky. So if you feel like you're also like stuck in this loop, um, yeah, this is definitely for you. You can't really outwork chaos. Um, yeah, all the hours that you're spending reacting, redoing, rescuing your team is really like energy that's being stolen away from your visionary work, which is what is more so the CEO seat, doing the visionary, the data, the making decisions, the high level decisions. So okay, so this particular, remember I said there's like 3 kind of groups that I'm noticing. This particular group, and I think at one point this was definitely me in my 9 to 5. So there's no shade to anybody. This first group that I want to talk about, I want to call us the firefighters. Okay, so this is the group that believes that I'm best when I'm under pressure. When my back is against the wall, that's when I'm my best, right? And there's a transition that has to happen where you understand that if the only time that you perform is when you are in chaos, you are consistently running from calm, right? And CEOs lead from calm and composure, right? And so if your back is always against the wall, your amygdala only has 3 triggers. Can I eat it? Can this kill me? Or can I reproduce with it? And so when our brain gets into this may kill me, and that's my back against the wall, we gonna go into it and all that stuff, right? It seems like it's great because it's giving you energy, but really it's training your body to be attracted to that chaos. Um, which long term, it just doesn't hold well, right? The pressure that you're craving is really just the trust in yourself, right? If I have control, then I'm safe, right? But it's not really control that is going to help you build your business. It's really clarity is what you're looking for, right? Not necessarily adrenaline, but being able to have systems that tell you exactly where things are going well, where things are not going well, what fires actually need to be put out, and what things are maybe just a little bit warm, right? And so we can also start to see things that may be just a little bit warm right now, not necessarily on complete fire. That's going to trigger, some entrepreneurs to like, oh, my back's against the wall. We got to lock in. Everybody got to lock in, right? And it's like, yes, and right. Eventually, if we want to get out of that solopreneur operator, I am the person doing the majority of the work in my business. If you want to get out of that, you have to step into that CEO suite and that CEO mindset. And I see this oftentimes too, where people will start to build a team. So they're not even a solopreneur anymore, right? You start to build your team, you're starting to hire, you're like, yes, I want to grow my team, I want to grow my business, so I'm going to start hiring. You start hiring, but then you're still on everybody. Like, just double checking, did you get this done? Just double checking, or something goes wrong. And instead of letting your team work through it, you just jump in and do it yourself. It's like, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna just do it. Don't worry. No, 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 no. Yeah, it don't matter. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. And so I want to talk about, can anybody relate to this, by the way? Does anybody identify e- as a firefighter, whether you're in it, whether you're recovering from it? I know I've had jobs where I was the firefighter. When I was a teacher, I definitely was in this firefighter mentality where every single thing I thought I had to put out every single fire. And it actually ended up really hurting my students because what they learned is that they have to depend on me for all of my approval, and that they don't have to build self-efficacy within themselves. They don't have to be self-starters. They don't have to work through challenging times, because Jasmine is going to come in and save the day. Jasmine is going to come in and put out the fire anyway, so why should I try? And it created like this, my first year of teaching, it created like this really like exhausting space for me, to be honest, because I literally had to do everything. Once I started realizing, okay, hold up. All right, we can build some systems. Everybody can have their role. Everybody can have a very clear role. Yeah, like that is what took a lot off of me, off of my plate, and I could just focus on the vision and the data and all those things. All right, so let's jump into three things, three operational shifts um, that really can help us go from this firefighter role into the CEO stint. Okay. So when you're in this, I always keep it in my same framework. So sprint, scale, sustain. So in this sprint, when we're solopreneurs, everything's urgent. You're moving fast, no rhythm, just all over the place. Progress, it starts to feel like panic because your pace is depending on the pressure that you're putting on, right? If there's no fire, then we're moving slow. If there is a fire, then we're moving in hyperspeed, right? And so when you're stepping into this CEO seat, when you're transitioning from solopreneur to having a small team to now stepping into CEO, you have to learn how to channel that urgency into structure, daily rhythms, things that are predictable, right? So that you can predict problems before it gets to be a huge fire. So dashboards, right? Recurring team reviews, right? If you've been on a team where you don't get reviews and then all of a sudden there's a review, panic, right? Why does such and such want to talk to me? Why does my manager all of a sudden want to talk to me? We've never talked before, right? So it's important. Yeah. Yeah, 1,000 ideas, not all of them need to be actualized. Absolutely. So yeah, recurring team reviews, client status audits. These are just normal things that are part of our week. On Fridays, we always meet and talk about data. On Mondays, we always do a kickoff, right? This is like the benefit of having like a daily stand-up even, right? You don't need to move faster. You need to just move with foresight. Okay. The second part, the second transition here is like where you start to break your solopreneur habits. Because you can even have solopreneur habits when you have a team, right? Solopreneurs, you are the hero. You always save the day. You're the one who goes in, we're the ones solving. We fix everything, right? When you start stepping into that CEO seat, you don't need to be a hero because less is on fire, right? You don't there's like a sense of pride sometimes in being the one who is always saving the day, but you can also shift to being fully rested and being able to make decisions with data from a high level perspective. This glare is bothering me so bad, y'all. I can't even deal. From a high level perspective, um, and building systems where you don't need to be firefighting all the time. You don't need to be firefighting all the time. You can just exist, right? This is where like workflows and SOPs and clear handoffs, and also this another thing too, that I haven't been talking about, but I'm going to talk about more. Clear roles. Clear roles. Who's supposed to be doing what? Because once you realize your name is not on there, you can go ahead and back up, right? And let your team be able to do it, right? Let your team, if your team can't do it, you can't even really evaluate whether they're good at their jobs or not, by the way. But yeah, scaling is not just about having more help and more bodies in the room. It's about needing less of you so that things still work well. If you want to be the person who's doing every single thing in every aspect of your business, you can just go ahead and log off of this right now. This is not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people like me who want to be able to go to Greece for a month for my birthday in April and let the business be able to run on its own, right? And so there's solopreneur habits that are going to get in the way. And that's why I want to be able to talk about these, because there's some habits that we're literally like blocking our teams sometimes. Okay, now the third one, this is where leadership starts to replace labor. So when we first start, we're doing. I'm the one communicating. I'm the one always talking. I'm the one sending all the emails. I'm the one. Now you're starting to move into that leadership role, right? Into that mentorship role. And it's like when we first start, we're like, oh, things are chaotic and things are going great. That means my business is going. There's a lot going on. So that means that my business is growing. But really, you want to get to a place where you are growing and it's like there's a level of like tranquility, right? You don't want everything to be on fire all the time. Thinking about how long your business can run without you intervening. How many can you cut down the number of emails that you send to clients per se? Right now, you may have you may still have emails, but maybe they're to partners, right? Maybe they're to conferences who want you to speak there, versus having it all be client, right? Um, every week of smooth sailing with growth is like you stepping away from those solopreneur habits. Like that should feel good, even though it's going to feel uncomfortable. That's another thing too. I'm gonna record a couple videos about this, but I have some stories about some people that I've worked with who had a really hard time feeling okay with the fact that they're not the one doing all the work anymore. And they're like, okay, so what do I do? It's like, well, you can spend time with your family now. Well, you can finish that book that you started in January now. Well, you can actually go on that trip that you wanted. Actually, you can turn your phone off on the weekends. Like different things like that, right? You can't really lead your company when you're in the weeds, like saving it all the time. So, and this is like, I always say, I know, like, you know, y'all know me as systems and operations, but like data is a huge piece of this. Operations is literally just how data is passed, right? Yes, you do want it to hum like a machine, right? So operations is just how data is passed. And so your data is going to be telling you what's going well and what's not going well. And so even if you haven't started doing like a weekly CEO check-in of like, these are the goals we're going to accomplish for the week, these are the metrics that I'm measuring, and then circling back on Friday or on Sunday, being like, this is how it went, this is how I'm going to pivot, whatever the case may be, like that's something to get in the habit of, because as you're starting to grow your business, I know a lot of us, things just be going, right? Especially if you're somebody who went from solopreneur to small team rather quickly, and then things started ramping up. You may not have taken time to get all of your metrics in order, right? Or you may not be tracking everything that you need to track, but it's worth it to do that because your data is going to tell you what is moving. So I always talk about your cost to acquire a client. If that is climbing, this is red flag. Something's going on. Something's going on, right? Why is it costing more and more? Your clients are probably not giving you good reviews. Same thing with your lifetime value of a customer. If that is not rising, that means people are not staying with y'all, with your company. So I don't know if that's something with your delivery. It could be something with your client onboarding, likely because your client onboarding affects your delivery. And then that's when you can jump in and see like, hey, how is my team performing, right? So it's not a thing. It's like a reframe. Going from solopreneur to leading a small team to being the CEO, it's a reframe. You don't need to necessarily work harder, but you have to rewire how you define control. So yeah, this firefighter type of solopreneur, um it happens. And like I said, I definitely have been this in when I was a teacher as well. When I was a teacher, dog, firefighting, everybody called me for everything. And part of me, like, it felt good, right? That's why we do it, right? It feels good to be like the go-to. But that same ideology did not translate well into my business, right? And so I don't know, do you find yourself as a firefighter in your business, or not even just in your business, maybe it's in your personal life. Maybe you're a oldest daughter and that's what you feel like you have to do. Or maybe, maybe you translate for your parents and so you feel like that's what you have to do. And so there's like these identities that get placed on us, and these identities that we step into that end up holding us back later in other endeavors. So this is the first one I want to talk about. There's two other ones that I want to talk about, and I'll talk about them as the weeks go. Um, but yeah, I want to share these stories because I feel like as founders, we don't talk about mistakes enough. We don't talk about like, dang, actually, I'm trying to scale my business whole time. I can't back up from my business. I keep checking to see if my team is doing it right. We got the systems. I hired the people. I hired the right people even. We have systems. They're following the workflows and SOPs, and I'm trying to jump in. I want to do something. I want to feel like I'm doing the thing. Right. And then so you start jumping in anyway, and now you're paying people to do the work and you're also stressing them out and yourself too. It happens, right? Yeah, metrics are huge. Metrics are huge. Metrics are huge. I have a series called Your Revenue is Lying to You. There's some metrics in there that I highly encourage you to make sure that you are tracking. But yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, I say all this to say like I'm bringing these up because I think a lot of people view this as like being a failure. Like being a firefighter is not a character flaw. Like it's not. It is not a character flaw. It's just so that you have awareness, because being a solopreneur, like those tendencies actually got your business to 10, 15K months, 20K months, right? But they're not going to get you to 50, 60, 75, 100K months, because you're going to have to back up into that CEO seat. Your business needs you in a different way. And that shift starts when you stop equating chaos with success. And then you can build in systems that help you keep sustainable success instead of having to deal with crisis all the time. Yeah, you're really building capacity. So if any of this resonated with you, I have S.O.S, the newsletter that comes out on Sundays. I share frameworks, founder stories, free game every week, the kind that helps you grow your business and your peace. Also, you get access to all of the upcoming offers, like you're always first to know, that help you really sit in this CEO seat and be able to scale your business without all of the headache, without all the fires, without the panic and all the things. Working more hours is not scaling. That's just working more hours. So if you're trying to get more of a result while working the same amount of hours, right? That's scaling, right? I can get a better result with the same amount of time working, but the thing is, it's just the actions are very different. And so a lot of this comes, a lot of shifting. There's a lot of scaling within yourself that you have to do to scale your business as well. So S.O.S, the newsletter. The link is in all of my bios. And I'll drop it in the comments on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Yeah, that's all I got for you this week. Enjoy the rest of your week and have a great weekend. And we'll talk next week about the next sort of bucket that I'm seeing, like the types of behaviors that I'm seeing in clients. That one is actually the people pleaser. Yeah. If that's you, don't forget to tune in. All right, y'all. See y'all next week. Thanks for coming. Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I always stay on TikTok a little bit longer. All right, bye, y'all.